thought leader, expert, seasoned, front runner, connoisseur, professional. Those are some of the adjectives that you might use to describe our guest today. And no, I'm not just cornering them, Gaga. Our guest is a seasoned business and career growth coach. He's also the CEO at SwiftMinds. This is an HR and management consultancy firm. He's also an inspirational speaker and a trainer. Moses, welcome to URA TV.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you could draw a self-portrait of yourself, what are those things that you would make sure to highlight about yourself, your journey, your life journey, from the beginning up until now? So I guess what I'm trying to say is, who is Moses Wasswa?
Wasswa Moses, first of all, I'm a twin. When you talk about Wasswa, that's already a title. But I came to the world with a title. But I'm the first twin of the 3 sets of twins in my family.
3 sets?
Yes. So I'm the first twin, and I come from a family of 16 children.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Nice.
I come from a family of 16 children, and I am the fourth born. My set of twins came after the 3rd child, so I come in as number 4.
Number 4. Yeah.
And then also, I come from a very normal Ugandan background, a humble background. I am from Sembabule, a district known for hot politics. So that's where I come from. But on the career side, I am, like you've introduced me, I'm a career coach and business coach, inspirational speaker, as well as a writer. Also on the personal side, family, I'm married with 3 boys.
Aww,
3 handsome boys. And I love them so much because they're so like me, they're outspoken. All right, so the eldest I just celebrated 6 years, and then there's 4, then there's 2. Yeah, so just like that. So that's in a nutshell, that's me. I head a company called SwiftMinds, and we are into management and business advice and human resource services. And as well, I also serve as the director PR and marketing for the Human Resource Managers Association of Uganda. Nice. And so in terms of service, in terms of serving the wider market, that is, that's how I'm serving right now.
Okay, nice. When you said you had 3 boys, and I'm like, we're praying for the twins also.
So I really hope, that happens. If it doesn't happen, really no problem. People usually tell me, I hope the next one is a girl, but children are children. Not that I wouldn't want to be a father to a lady, but if it comes, well and good. So I trust God maybe to come, as I also get wind up on that front of service.
Nice. Now, away from the fatherhood, let's delve into the CEO of SwiftMinds.
Yeah.
And you hinted a little bit of what you do, but I'm curious, what inspired you to start this company? And you could just get into more in depth of what exactly it is that you do.
Yeah. So I remember, so when I had an opportunity to study out of the country, and I did my undergraduate and master's out of the country. So for me, at the time when I was enrolling for master's program, it was a big opener for me. The master's program was a big opener for me, and it reminded me of the small business person that I was. I remember at that time I was actually planning, I want to have a job, I want to be in UN, I want to do this. But then I got a reminder that at some point in my senior 6 vacation, I managed a business.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a business in downtown, and I remember I had started with 50,000 shillings to start and buy clothes, women top clothes, tops. I remember that the money I used 24,000 to buy a backpack, and then I used the other money to buy a few tops. So I would just call up friends and ask them whether they would love me to pass by and bring them the tops. You get? Yes. So in about 4 months, I think even my brother who gave me the capital 50,000 was like, "You're crazy. Can you start a business at 50,000 shillings?" But yes, I remember I just woke up one day in 2010. Number of my colleagues that we had finished senior 6 with, they were like, "We are going to get jobs and all that." But 1 month down the road, 2 months, no one was doing anything. So I was like, no, I need to do something. So I woke up, I asked my brother for some money, he gave me 50,000.
And then you got started.
But before that, I'd gone to downtown the Owino market. Oh. I went to do research. I remember waking up at 5 a.m. to go there just to see and observe how they sell clothes, where can I buy the best. So after that, I went and asked for the 50,000 shillings because I knew the price. I knew I would walk away with 10 tops in my backpack. So I went and did that. To cut the whole story short, within 4 months of my business, I had saved about 3 million shillings. Wow. And I had moved on to be now buying the Indiwater, the bells. And so I was sending them to different places. I remember I would send them in Jinja, in Kalangala. And my business had grown. Oh. And then here scholarship comes and I was going away. So I had to drop my business, I had to leave it with my brother who actually dropped it down and it didn't work out. So I went and started studying. And you know, when you go to school sort of upgrades you into the corporate kind of mindset. And I remember at some point I'd forgotten the small me who was doing business successfully.
Yeah.
So taking on my master's degree reminded me that I could actually be in business once again. So before I finished the master's, I started planning and saying, okay, when I go back home, because for me, it was about coming back home.
You knew.
All right?
I had to come back.
Yes, because I knew my background, I knew where I come from. It's not that good, so I really wanted to come back and change something. So I came back I'm just from abroad, I speak French, So I started looking for jobs, for starters. But my plan had not died. I knew I had to start a business. I had to start a company. So I looked for jobs. I know I'd been away for 6 years and most of my friends had moved on. I can imagine, that loneliness when someone has been away from home, that you get where to start and all that, who to call, nobody. So I was looking for a job. Lucky enough, I got a job that was paying me 600,000 shillings a month.
And you had a master's?
Yes. I had to first, when you first look for a job for a month, second month, third month, and there's nothing coming, you first put your papers in that drawer, if you're wise enough. So I put my papers in the drawer, and I just said, I need something to start. Guess what I got? The first job I got was with Seroma Limited, counting cement.
Okay.
I was counting cement, I was counting iron bars, I was doing their stock audit and all that. Because at undergraduate, I'd done a bachelor's in audit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah?
Yes.
It is after the master's that I actually got to get into the human resource part. Because my master's was in strategic management, majoring in human resource. That's how I get to be introduced to human resource. So I did stock audit for about a year and I said, it wasn't my thing.
It wasn't, yeah.
I was grateful that I got something to start me off, but I had to move on very fast. Now, the next step was to work with only consulting firms. Okay? I set out, because when I just come, I look for all jobs everywhere. Government agencies, MDAs, UN, and nothing was coming through. So I said, let me just get anything. So I got something to start me off, pay my bills a bit here and there, make sure that I have transport to move around this town. It's very expensive.
It is.
The transport is a lot. If you don't have, you can walk on foot, hungry, and disappointed at everyone, very frustrated. So I got a job that was paying me 600,000. I remember it was 630. Yeah,
this is after Seroma.
Yes. I was very grateful, and I'm forever grateful that those guys gave me an opportunity to start. Then after that, I went on. Now I set another target that I had to work with consultancy firms. Now, to cut the whole story short, or to summarize, I went on to work for about 3 consulting firms. The first consulting firm I worked with was doing human resource management, basically recruitment, job evaluation and all that. The second one was into development programs, and I was lucky and to work on a project which was about $3 million. It was spearheaded by GIZ to do capacity building for oil and gas. So I also played a very vital role there, and got also to practice some mainstream HR on that program. And then the next employer was still a company in consulting, but also in services like mobility, human resource, outsourcing and all that. So for me, in all that, I wanted to gather knowledge on how real consultancy works. How do you manage a process from prospecting a client to writing a proposal to now having the client, sign up. And so I learned all that, because most of these companies, yes, I chose to be the company which had that big project of GIZ. I chose to be in human resource, but I was also supporting 2 other functions. I was supporting training and development, going to different places to train. I was also supporting the business development. Why? Because I wanted to learn. I didn't want to be in one office in one box. Yeah. Yes. Wanted to learn different things. Yeah. And yeah. So after that, I knew it was my time. In 2020, I registered. I just woke up. I remember I had just gotten married. And then I told my wife, you know what, we are registering a company. Guess what? My highest, in 2020, as of 2020, my highest paycheck was 1.2 take home. Okay. 1.2 take home. Yes. So I woke up and told my wife, you know what, I'm going to URSB. So I went to URSB, and I told her, do you want to be a partner on this business? He said, okay, no problem. So we got another partner, and we registered. I went and registered. In fact, the first registration did not have any other partner. They said, we have to register this company. To do what? I did not even, structured. All I wanted is register now.
Start now.
We started. We registered. Got a TIN number for URA. Yeah?
Thank you.
And someone told us, all you have to do is file 000, as long as there's no business.
No return.
Just file nil return. And we did that. Because in 2020, when we registered in January, we didn't even have a company profile, nothing. So we started from scratch, started doing a company profile. 3 months down the road, COVID happened. So there was closure of everything. Even as we were making progress to have some. So the client wanted to just give me mobile money, 150. And I told him, look, we have a company. So what we need, what you do, write for us a contract. We want an agreement that this work is going to take place, and also put the amount. Don't worry. The client shared a contract of 5 pages.
5 pages for 150,000.
Yeah, all the terms and what. I just told them, put every term you want, and then put the amount, and they did that.
Okay.
Now, what was I trying to do? I was trying to make sure the company has someone to put, another company to put on the profile that we have worked with. Oh, so I was trying to make sure that we have experience.
That's wise.
Yeah, so we signed, and guess what? It was an 1 hour. It was a 1 hour inspirational speech to secondary school students in a ghetto there in Machi, India.
Okay.
I went and did it, and yeah, paid to the company account. And that is how we started. So when COVID started,
did you take a punch at the company for a bit?
The company I was working with?
First, I would like to know, when you started your company, you were still working? Or
Yeah,
you
I was still working. I was still working. And you see, I usually tell people, even though you're working, what you can do is you're not going to be in employment forever.
That's true.
So if you're the type who really envisages having your own company, you're better off registering it now, because where we are doing business, in the business market, most times the first question they ask you is the experience for the company. And they usually don't ask you that because they want you to name the companies you've worked with, but they want to know how long has your company been in existence. So before you describe anything, it is about the years. And I usually tell people, even if you're employed, register your company and let it accumulate those years. It is experience. Because for example, when you ask me how long has SwiftMinds been in existence, 6 years. But didn't we have some time where we are doing nothing? Yes, it was there. But no one is can't explain that. No one will know. We have 6 years of experience.
Okay. So from 2020, the pandemic didn't slow you down in any way?
So the pandemic slowed us down. And because it happened at a time where we were figuring ourselves out. So during the pandemic, what we did most was to really reflect on what services to start with, to break ground in the market. And one of the biggest inspirations was that I had looked for jobs in the market and I was not getting one. So the first service automatically was recruitment, to help people place them in meaningful jobs, and not just jobs, because we don't just recruit. There are times where we just tell the client we can't recruit for that because we know it's not meaningful enough. So we have a market that we are looking at. If we are going to recruit for you someone, how much are you paying them? What are the benefits? If I placed, or if we placed Priska in a job, they have to be able to feel comfortable. They have to be able to feel some growth. Okay? Because for me, that's what I wanted at that point and never got. So I want to do that for people. I want our company to be able to place someone in a meaningful job. So that was the first service that we put on our catalog. And then other services came later, things like training, like organizational development, job evaluation, job analysis, project support, project impact evaluations, all that. It comes in later. But we started with the recruitment. Because me as a founder, my biggest pain and the biggest value I wanted to give people is to find meaningful employment. Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing to do. In a way, you're giving back to the community, to the society.
Yeah.
I was also very curious about the name of the company, SwiftMinds. What inspired that?
So, so the story behind SwiftMinds is, so I sat with one of my former colleagues, the one I was working with, and she was a bit senior.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, so if we started a company, can we tap into your network and all that? I said, can you be a partner? He said, oh, I can be a partner and all that. But she was this super people who are really committed to the corporate, work and all that. So for me, it was so hard to turn her around. But she asked me a good question. So, do you have a name for the company? And I went home and I thought about that. And I said, wait a minute, we are going to be consulting. Okay? And also, I remember when I went back home, I prayed about it. And the following morning, I was thinking, if you are going to consult, what name would you use? Most of the times when we are consulting, we sell knowledge. Okay? Everyone out there is selling their knowledge and experience if they are consulting. Companies are selling knowledge and experience. Before anything else, the biggest capacity that you sell in the market is knowledge. and experience. So I said, okay, we have the minds, and our minds have to be swift enough to do the work, to do the job in the market, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how the name came up. Swift Minds. When we are consulting, our minds have to be swift enough and provide value for the much needed work that the client wants us to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all these 6 years later, it's been 6 years of SwiftMinds.
Yeah.
And what's your general experience, managing a startup, a small an SME in Uganda? What's your experience been like?
Yeah, so you really have to be very tough. You have to be tough. And remember, these are not products. The products, you might show someone that, hey, I'm selling a blazer.
Like, oh, okay.
I am a tailor. I'm going to, be, fit. This is the material and all that. This is a service. So starting out is tough, but for anyone who starts a business, then you must have the zeal. You must first of all have the passion. You must also have to believe that this thing is going to work out. Because at the end of the day, no one is going to push you and tell you this thing is going to work out.
You're your biggest fan.
Yeah, you have to wake up every morning, or you have to go to bed every morning saying this thing has to work out. So as you see, founders, managing directors and all that, sometimes they don't sleep. They're thinking about what is the next service. So in this instance, at the start, you have to think, who am I going to sell this service to? Okay. Now, previously, like I told you, I had worked with consulting firms. So I had gotten the gist of getting clients, pushing certain services, pushing people, the follow-up, and all that. So it took me, it took us some time for us to really get in, some serious business in the door. That's why I'm saying, when someone is starting out, I think the biggest time is that transition. You're from employment, you're not sure what you've started yet will work, even if you've seen something work. So you, in your mind, you're having the mind of
that's impossible.
You're having the mind of Israelite. Even if you know that God has parted the Red Sea. No, but okay, God has gotten you wherever you are, and then you're seeing that the Red Sea, it's all together. You still doubt. I'm telling you, everyone doubts themselves. You feel like, how am I going to make this work? That's why the planning of transition, for anyone planning to transit from employment to managing your own venture, you have to plan. Because at the end of the day, I didn't start SwiftMinds when I was single. When you're single, things are easier, maybe.
Yeah.
Taking care of someone's daughter and taking care of some new human being in the world. So it becomes hard. You need money on a daily.
Yeah.
You need money on a daily. Remember, when you leave employment, you're not going to claim things like insurance, health insurance, and all that. No one, it's on you. Right? So it's tough. And then you come to a point now, it's no longer like, okay, we are starting or what. Now you're in it. If it doesn't pay, if you have no job, you start to worry of what we will eat. I'm telling you.
That's true.
What you'll eat, how you'll parent. There's a time where I did not have money for your car.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay, you need that tough.
And yet you have to sleep believing that tomorrow there will be work. Now, me, I started from home, by the way. So I didn't have an office. We didn't have an office. And remember, my partners were not with me. Most of them were still in employment. So they were kawa. Huh?
So you're the one grinding.
Yeah, you have to fry that egg. You have to keep frying.
Until.
Okay? Yeah, so it's tough. And then now when it comes to now things like the regulators like tax, the QRA, like filing returns with URSB, like generally business compliance. For it doesn't wait. Whether you're making money or not, you have to stay compliant, because these guys in the market, like QRA, they are mandated to make sure everyone is compliant.
And so, okay.
Yes.
Of URA, now that you've brought us up, what's your experience been like?
So experience with URA is, I would speak generally. I think it is about learning.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Getting to learn what the law, how the law applies to you, because URA just translates the law into application.
Yes.
So you have to know that now the biggest problem that we have in the market, that for me I think now we have, is ignorance, especially for starters. The big firms can afford serious accountants, financial advisors. Companies starting out like SwiftMinds was maybe 4 years ago, you cannot afford.
It's there yet.
So it's you now to read and really interpret. If URA is talking about presumptuous tax, what does it mean? How does it apply to me? For me, I'm in services. Does it apply to me? If it doesn't apply to me, what else applies to me? In other words, you anticipate. Yeah, the biggest problem with most of us entrepreneurs who are running business, we don't anticipate. We don't have the knowledge out there. It's all shared out there, because I know that once you're looking for knowledge, URA has tried to put out knowledge and all that. But we wait until URA comes to us. And when URA comes to you, the conversation is
different.
Assessment. Once we have assessed, we find there's a fault. The law says this is the penalty. It's the law. So my experience, I've also done, we have also done penalties, but it taught us a lot, because if something is not adding up, we run to URA. We go to our service center. For us, we are, I think, at Kampala Boulevard. So we go there and see an officer who is in charge of our accounts.
Your CRM?
Yes, our CRM, and we try and work things out. One of the biggest issues that has been is tax clearance. Ever since tax clearance came into force, people have suffered to get tax clearance. Do you know why? Because sometimes they don't know they have to go and maybe interface and get help, those things like that.
Yes.
Right? But also on the other side of what I think has also improved with URA nowadays, that even when you have not yet, for example, the month that is starting, around 5th, you start receiving messages that, hey, it's time for you to file. You will get reminders and all that. So it's up to you to know that. For me, and you see, it has become very easy. It's simple.
Yes, we've tried.
You know that for us who are in services, you're either compliant or not. If you're not compliant, you can't get business, because everyone who once gives you even the smallest business for 1 million, they're going to say, where is your tax clearance? I know compliance is expensive, for sure. For all small businesses, I don't know about even big businesses, it's expensive. Because when it comes to pay, you have to pay it. When it comes to filing annual returns, you pay and pay the corporation tax. It's expensive, but again, it's another step to which we have to do business. We have no option. You have to formalize. You have to. In fact, I kept saying that the person who came up with IFRIS, at URA, should be put on a retainer for the rest of their lives.
It makes work easy for you guys.
I mean, it's easy, but also creates visibility for the regulator and all that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad your experience with URA is, balanced.
No, we haven't had any major issues really, apart from where we were a bit slack, and ignorance does not be forgiven.
That's true.
So we got a penalty which we paid, and we are now in good books. We are trying as much as possible to make sure we stay compliant.
Okay, and we thank you for paying your taxes. So we'll go back to our conversation on, still on SwiftMinds. So you've grown over the years and you've got a bigger clientele. So if someone is watching and they're thinking to themselves, I probably need SwiftMinds services. just reassure them about, your red card, because usually people sometimes are scared to approach companies like SwiftMinds because they're like, these guys are going to ask me for an arm and a leg and a bit of my chibanja. So please share about that.
So I think we're in the market to support everyone, and one of the passions that we have is startups. We are currently having some startups that we are supporting on outsourced human resource services, where we just come and give you advice on how to manage your team. We support you on recruitment, we support you on training, we support you in quite a number of things, even leadership development. Yeah, so it's not an arm and a leg. Where I sit, our services, we can't give a rate card. Why? Because terms of reference are different. So every client comes with a different terms of reference. Someone might come and say, we need you to do recruitment only. Another one will say, we need you to do a whole outsourced HR services, and then you have to do from end to end. So that is a whole different rating. Another one will just come with a one-off project. We want you to do a restructuring. We want you to do job evaluation. Another one will come and say, we just want you to manage for us this project. Now that's where the management consulting comes in, where they get to outsource to us a certain service and we manage it. Someone will come and say, I have a research project. Can you put together a team? So our rate card cannot really be
fixed.
It can't be fixed. For example, someone selling shirts might say from 100 to 200. Ours might range.
Depends on the tune.
Depends, really.
Okay.
It really depends. Then someone will say we want team building for 200 people. So that is work for like what? Maybe 1 day, 2 days. So we prepare, get our consultants together, we go and deliver team building, and we are paid. So
very customized.
Yeah, we customize according to every need that the client has. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. And like we have been, sharing, it's been 6 years of SwiftMinds. Just in like 3 words, can you share what do you owe this longevity? Because startups in Uganda die before first birthday, but what has made you tick? What has made you, over the bar?
I think for me, when it comes to business, especially, I'll speak for services for now. When it comes to business, but even the guys who are into property, who are into, selling material and all that, in other industries, when it comes to business, the number one thing is you have to keep your motivation. You have to keep your why. Why did you start? Okay? And you see, for me as a founder, and from where I come from, I cannot fail, because I know there's a lot of people who are counting on our existence. There are people who are existing because we're existing. We are supporting them. So if I'm supporting a startup and we wake up and close shop, that startup is going to struggle to get another comfortable, excellent service provider, what they've been having from us. So we cannot, because at the end of the day, we also have jobs that we are trying to create within the economy. Okay, we are creating jobs. We are paying consultants. We are paying people are employed with us. We are paying content creators, staff. And so that is motivation enough to keep us working.
Keep going.
You see, the secret in consulting is you must keep being creative. You have to keep creative. You have to keep bringing on different services that will, make sure the lights are on, you're paying people salaries, but also you're growing. Okay, so 6 years, I feel like, yes, we are so privileged to still be here, but I don't think we are yet to stop, and we will not stop.
Nice. It's just getting started.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
Okay. Thank you, Moses, for sharing so deeply about, your role as the founder at SwiftMinds. Now we're going to get into the business and career growth coach side of life. You were named top 40 under 40 in this space. What did that feel like?
I mean, it feels good. Every human being likes to be appreciated.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we are human. We like to be appreciated. Even when you're working with certain people or staff or colleagues, once you appreciate them, they feel a sense of belonging. They feel a sense of contribution. And so, I was happy that, New Vision got to nominate me. And yeah, that was good to know that I'm doing something in the space.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the journey been like? When did you start? Did you start in 2020 still, or so that first 150 client was the first client that you...
No, at a personal level, I have been coaching. I remember that started out when I was still in senior 6. I would coach the guys below and primary school. I would do it, of course, naively, but it's something I have had to grow over time, study, get certified. And yeah, so now I coach corporates, I coach people starting out in their career, I coach country directors, managers. We'll sit down and just have a conversation. Sometimes people just need that spark, for example, recently I was talking to a banker and she was telling me, I am very tired of, being here, I'm a teller. And so I was just ask her one question. Where is the biggest opportunity in the banking sector? When these people are giving out loans and all that, where is the biggest opportunity? She couldn't tell me. So I told her, the biggest opportunity that banks trade on and make a lot of money is risk.
Oh, okay.
It's risk. The two things. One, people are in need of money. But when banks are giving out that money, it's a big risk. Yeah, even though they make a lot of assessments and all that, they are assessing the level of what? Risk. So I told her, how about you get some kind of certification in risk management? That alone would pull you from being a teller to being in operations or doing something, being a risk officer, risk manager, something like that. So sometimes people just need that spark. And one of the things that also inspired me to be a coach, to be an inspirational speaker is because of my background. But I've also tried to observe the career journeys of a typical Ugandan and an African. From the age 20, probably finishing campus, our minds are always, I am still young.
Yes.
I can, just be chilling around as long as I get some money for airtime, long as I go hang out with my friends. I am still young. And that affects us for a whole decade because 20 to 30 is usually the I am still young decade.
It goes by in an instant. Yeah.
So when you're approaching 30, if you're a lady, then the pressure of, having something, getting married and all that comes in. Because you haven't planned, so who do you end up with?
It's more random.
Who do you end up with? Some random dude, right?
Yeah.
So after random dude, you'll have a child. You have children. Before this one gets to start school, the other one has come. And the random dude does not have a stable job. So at some point, someone needs to remind Ugandans that at 20 to 30, that's when things should happen. That's where proper career planning should happen. That's where proper mind transition should happen. A lot of people waste that decade, but it is very, very key for what happens in your 30 and 40 and 50s. Nonetheless, it's not too late. So if you find yourself out of that decade, it's still okay. You can still plan. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. Can still plan. There's very few people who get razor focused and say, if I'm in this organization as an intern, I want to learn how this works, that works. I found most interns, when they place them on a desk, that's where they are. They'll sit on that desk until 5 and they'll move. They're not curious.
Yeah, they're not applying themselves.
They are not applying themselves. 5 p.m. they're out in an organization where they can learn from different places. Because when you're from campus, why would you limit yourself? Don't limit yourself.
The world is your oyster.
Then, and I've also found people who have remained in the same job for 5-6 years. God, why would you be in the same job for 5-6 years? Are you stealing?
You're stealing.
Are you stealing? Because you're supposed to grow.
You have to grow.
Growth.
Okay.
what defines growth is knowledge, the accumulation of knowledge, experiences, and movement.
So what if the person is moving in the same company, but it's like an upward thing?
Still okay, but you must move at some point.
Yeah.
And at some point, you must leave that company as well, because growth can be horizontal, can be vertical, can also be external. You can move externally. And that's why I'm telling you, because you don't get challenged sometimes when you stay in one place. You don't get challenged, you get stagnant. You know, the water in the Rift Valley is salty because it's stagnant, it doesn't move. Lake Victoria is fresh because it has rivers in and rivers out. When you stay in one place, you become stagnant.